Alright, so I finally pulled the sunroof off and was looking at what the noise factor might be. One of the things I noticed was this little part here, there was a little gap right here. So I was maybe thinking maybe the wind was coming up in there and that's what was making the sound getting into the car. So I just kind of moved it up a little bit. It doesn't go down as far down here now, but maybe that'll help with some of the noise. But I found this on my sunroof. So this part has come up and out. So you can see. So like when you put the sunroof in, so it wasn't holding it down. So I am going to try to get some super glue and just load the crap out of it with super glue. Put some weight on it and try to hold it down and see if that will work. Other than that, I don't know what else I can do. How it kind of just pulled up and out of there is kind of weird. The other side didn't do that. So we will we'll do that next. All right, so we filled the gap with super glue, and I now have got 35 pounds sitting on it and pushing it down and holding it. So hopefully that will hold. Otherwise, I don't know what else I can do. But yep. So we got a couple other things we need to fix on here. One of them is this hook or the latch over here. When you open up the back, it catches on the metal. So I'm hoping I can move the whole hatch this way. Just, I mean, we're talking a millimeter. It barely touches. So I'm hoping I can do that. And then the big thing is, don't be a dumbass like me. So when you're streaming music on your radio, or at least my radio, the antenna is still up. So don't go to a car wash and not think about it. And the fact that my antenna was up when I went through the car wash, I didn't even think of it because I was streaming music and the antenna broke. So I now get to do the most favorite thing, the job that I did before. Probably one of the worst jobs I did on this car was trying to get this damn antenna in. But I think what I'm going to do this time, instead of trying to work up inside there and get that all done, I think I'm just going to take the fender off. Take this wheel off, take the fender off, do all my work, put the fender back on. So I think that'll probably be the easiest way. I'll take a look again when I get up in there. But I struggled and struggled and struggled to get the nuts and the bolts on in there. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So that's why that Euro parts is sitting right there underneath my Three Stooges garage, because that's my reminder of one of the worst jobs I did on this car was trying to put that on there. So we are going to work on that as well. We're going to work on that hatch, see if we can fix that, and then I got a couple other things. All right, so the new antenna is in, and it works. As you notice, I didn't take the fender off. Took all the bolts off, started from the front, worked my way back, and then there were 3 bolts holding the fender on in the back. 2 of those bolts are clipped to the antenna bracket. So you can learn from my mistakes. Also, what I did was I just tapped into the wires that were there. I'll clean that up. I just tested it just to make sure that it worked, and it does. But in reality, all you need to do is take the wheel off, take the 1 bolt out on the bottom of the charcoal canister, pull it up, bungee it out of your way, and get the 2 bolts off of the bracket that hold the 2 bolts in the back, the 2 bottom bolts that hold the fender on, that also hold the bracket on. Get those off, drop it down, and you can replace your you don't need to take all this stuff off. So I wasted a lot of time taking a lot of bolts off. If I would have started from the back and worked my way forward, I would have realized that. But just in case anybody ever needs to replace their antenna, take the wheel off, take the charcoal canister, get it up out of the way, and then you can get to the 2 bolts. You can drop the whole thing. I just snipped the wires right at the end because everything worked. It was the antenna, the antenna actually that broke. And just wire it back up and be done. So yeah, that was going to be a lot more work than I really needed it to be, but you live and you learn. So it was definitely a lot easier. I bet you if I didn't take all these other bolts out, maybe a 45-minute job if everything goes smoothly. All right, we're going to try to show you how this is working here. How it's not working. So if I put the key in and I turn it, can you hear that little click? It's just getting hung up on here. And I mean barely. So it's just getting hung up right on this edge. Right on the edge in there, you can kind of see how it's tearing up the rubber. So this needs to come back just a little bit. So wondering if I can adjust the hatch to move back just a little bit, or if I can somehow get this on an angle to where it tilts back a little bit more that way, just a tad. Might try that. Might try loosening that and putting something back in here so it angles it that way more. Let me try that first before I start fooling around with the hatch and everything. So all right, so we ended up getting it fixed, because now put my key in, turn it, it goes up by itself, so it's no longer catching. So I tried putting something in the back here, that didn't work. So what I ended up doing was I ended up loosening up those bolts, taking just a small little pry bar up in there and just pushing it just a little bit and then tightening them back down, and that seemed to work. So that problem is fixed. Awesome. So the little flap that goes over the gas cap finally gave out and broke. The rubbery plastic or whatever it was is just so brittle, so it finally broke. So I just grabbed a little piece of leather and he's stitching a little hole in there, and we're just going to put that in there instead. Just something to rest the gas pump on when you put it in. So as he gets this put together and sewn up, hey, everybody has skills. Everybody should know how to sew, I guess. So we'll get that put on. So we went out for a drive, and sure enough, no wind noise. So again, don't know if it was that or if it was the sunroof. I think it was this little part right here, that little chunk that was opened. It was open. This part was open. I think it was that. So the wind noise has been taken care of.